Hi there. My name's Elle Marston, and I'm from Small Batch Witch.
And I'm Jessica Caponegro from Snake Hair.
And today we have a communal spell. It's called Liminal Space, a spell for collective manifestation. And this is in honor of the new moon in Aries in 2021 and to mark a year since the start of pandemic and COVID-19 in the US. Last year, we did a spell on the new moon in Aries, and it was for collective grief and acknowledging everything that was happening in our world. And this year, we have a spell for closing out that energy, really taking stock of the past year and moving forward with good intention and manifestations to create a better world for each other. And to start, we'll read a few words. A year ago this month, our world was forced to come to terms with the realities of the COVID-19 global pandemic. During the time that has followed, our underlying systems of economic and racial disparity have become even more evident. In response, many have focused on how to best support and keep each other safe, making big adjustments to our daily lives, our personal comforts, and our energy outputs for the greater good. Today, our communities are still in quarantine. Our physical connection is still limited, and collective emotion still continues to run high.
Historically, plagues have made people distrustful, more suspicious of strangers, and more heavily invested in individual self-preservation. The result? A massive amount of global collective fear, trauma, and sorrow. We're all tired. We all need reprieve. It's a time for collective grieving and healing. On the anniversary of a year of shared collective grief, it's necessary to honor all of the losses that have been forced upon us this year, while celebrating our resilience and looking toward a future of community and renewed connections.
By acknowledging the energy of this past year, opening the floodgates and wading deep into our emotions, we are able to release them and to move forward together. Through emotional catharsis, we are able to reflect and pay homage to our physicality, our strength, and our resilience. And in pausing to reflect, we create space for ourselves and for others to truly feel the weight and importance of our lives, a gift that has been given to us over the past 12 months. In taking a moment of appreciation, we acknowledge the preciousness of this life in a world where so many have lost their own, not only to the virus, but the systemic issues it has exacerbated. In this liminal space, it is time to honor cycles of life, death, and regeneration in order to move forward collectively. Through showing appreciation and love for our lives, those who have passed, and the emergence of a new way of being, we can create a new world focused on humanitarian effort and rebuilding connection to the community.
It's now Pisces season, the wisest of the astrological time frames, a time of still water and deep reflection before jumping into the fiery heat of Aries season. The energy of Pisces is the understanding that the changes we need in society can only come about after a period of deep rest and reflection. In welcoming the end of the watery winter months, we are also opening ourselves to the energy of the sun as spring comes closer into view. Today marks the culmination of these two energies. At the point between the moon in Pisces and the turning over of the new moon into Aries, we wade into the liminality and let our intuition guide us.
In sitting with the energy of this past year, what comes up for you? Are you still holding it all together for others? Have you released your anger and your sadness? Have you been tending to yourself as much as you've been tending to other people? Have you been showing up in your community in meaningful ways? Now is the time to be frank with yourself, to look at your reflection in the smooth surface of this dark moon. Here you will find what needs illumination over the coming weeks.
Light your candle. Wrap your yarn, string, or cable around your altar materials. Setting one piece of paper aside, write what you are manifesting on your slips of paper and attach them to the yarn like a fringe surrounding your altar. All of the manifestations are connected to one piece of yarn. Everything is tied together. Everything is communal energy for the greater good. In manifesting for one, we manifest for all.
Now we're going to do a guided meditation. And the first step is to take your bowl of water and place it in front of you. If you have any citrus slices that you'd like to float in your water, or the leftover citrus from your cleansing ritual before joining us here today, you can add that to the water as well. Take a deep breath in. Hold for 3 seconds. Then breathe out for 3 seconds. Imagine as you do that you're expanding your lungs with the collective, breathing together through this time and bringing life-giving energy to all. Put your hands into the bowl of water with your lemon slices and let your mind drift. Imagine the water as a large expanse around you, inviting you in, asking for you to plunge into its dark depths, floating with just your nose and your eyes above the surface. Take in all that is around you from this perspective, hovering in between worlds, as above, so below. Imagine taking another breath and pulling yourself fully under the surface of the water, letting it cover you completely and totally. And for a few minutes, you bob below the surface completely alone, drenched in the dark reflections of the water, floating in space and time, separate from everything, part of everything, letting the water soak into every pore, feeling yourself being cleansed by the cool liquid against your skin, becoming part of you. In this space, plant the seed within yourself of a major manifestation. A small ball of light that will grow as the moon moves from Pisces to Aries, glowing inside you and gaining warmth toward the return of spring. In this moment of stillness, imagine the light moving from deep inside your chest and radiating outward, filling your whole body. You are now illuminating the waters around you as you slowly begin rising back to the surface. As you come up from underneath the water, imagine taking in a juicy breath of fresh air. Tart, cool, calming, refreshing. For a moment, you remember how akin you are to the moon, living, breathing, and floating through space just as you are bobbing in a dark sea, reflected like the night sky. In this moment, you have achieved liminality. You have become liquid, emotional, fluid, and moving. You are one with the water and the sky and the darkness surrounding you. You are refreshed by the darkness around you, cleansing you, stripping away the anxieties and hardships of this last year. And in this space, you prepare. In this liminality, you grow. Imagine yourself rising from the dark water, your inner manifestations growing inside you, illuminating a new way of thinking, a new path, and a new way of being. Let these thoughts guide you toward collective healing, toward what you truly desire, toward the world you want to create. Hold this light with you through the coming weeks, feeling it grow each day as we grow closer to the new moon.
On one of your small pieces of paper, write down something from last year that is no longer serving you. With intention, light the slip of paper aflame and cast it into your bowl of water to release the energy to be transmuted by the elements. Gather your jar, your citrus peels, and your olive oil. It's really important to have a clean jar and clean hands to make sure that nothing's spoiled. Put your citrus slices into your jar. And pour the olive oil atop. Make sure that all of your slices are completely covered, and there's about half an inch or an inch of oil above. Cover your jar. And hold the jar in your hands. Recite the spell. We continue to call for the radical redistribution of wealth, rejecting the fear that scarcity creates, and ushering in the downfall of oligarchy and capitalist systems of exploitation and oppression. We reject the hoarding of resources and ask for the protection of our most vulnerable. Protection for hospitality, service, retail, medical, pharmacy, transportation, and farming and agricultural workers who have supported our health and safety. For the immunosuppressed, the elderly, the marginalized, and all who are affected and in need of support to make it through this economic struggle. For the undocumented and the incarcerated. For those suffering from xenophobia and racism. For those who continue to be separated from loved ones. In the midst of this pandemic, we continue to demand rent freezes, student loan forgiveness, and healthcare for all. We continue to prioritize our needs and the needs of our community, asserting our will and maintaining our boundaries. We remain connected and hopeful. We will make individual sacrifices for the greater good. We maintain our focus on community care and collective healing. We are building a better world than the one we left behind. Let your jar sit in a sunny spot for 4 to 6 weeks, shaking it daily, thanking it daily, talking to it. If you want to recite the spell a few more times over it, just infusing it with all of the energy of our collective healing and all of the energy of the Pisces moon in the transition into the new moon in Aries. When it's ready, you can strain the contents or you can leave them in for the citrus and save the citrus peel for a bath or a foot soak. And you want to store it in a cool, dry place and use some discernment. If you open the jar and something is growing in it, or if it doesn't smell like beautiful, sweet, citrus infused olive oil, don't ingest it. But if it smells the way it's supposed to smell, you can use it in your favorite recipes, to anoint objects, to massage directly into your muscles, or to make a salve.
And in continuing the ritual, last year we asked everyone to show their altars if they wanted to. Give everybody a little bit of a glimpse into the magic that they created today as part of this collective spell. So if you'd like to share, you can go to @snake_hair on Instagram and @smallbatchwitch on Instagram. And we would love to see the work that you did together today. Please tag us in your photos. And we're also collecting recipes. So if you have a citrus recipe that you love, or a recipe for the spring that just makes you feel all of that good sun energy and gets you energized and happy to be outside, we would love to hear it. And you can submit those to our open bit.ly at bit.ly/collective manifestation. And we will be making a PDF of all of those recipes to send out to the community as well to celebrate and continue working this magic together even more in 2021.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for doing the spell with us. If you want to continue to do the spell, you have the PDF and all the resources at your disposal. And please reach out if you have any feedback for us. Thanks so much.